Hi, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Robin, and this is my eclectic nest. This is a channel where we talk a little bit about everything, mostly astrology. I do some oracle readings, cards on here. Um, yeah, this is what we do. Very relaxed, not very fancy. I am who I am, no problem, right? So if you like what you hear, um, please hit like. If you want to leave me a comment, just leave it down below. If you would like an astrology reading, Reiki session with me, or an oracle card reading, which usually goes with the Reiki session, you can get a hold of me at robinseclecticnest@gmail.com. So easy peasy. And I would like to say thank you very much for all the support that I'm getting out there. I really appreciate it. Slow and steady, slow and steady. Always wins the race, right? So what I would like to talk about today is the moon, which finishes the big three, the big triad in astrology. We already talked about the ascendant, we already talked about the sun, and now we're going to finish it out with the moon. Excuse me. So the moon rules the sign of Cancer. It belongs in the fourth house. That is the house of home. It is the house of roots. It is the house of mother. It is the house of your country. It's home, the motherland, right? It also represents the deepest desires in our heart. It represents needs needs we have to feel safe and nourished. It's in comfort. It also will let us know how we relate to the challenges later in life. It also relates to your attachment style. In other relationships, and that is due because we can tell about conditions of the womb. We can talk about conditions of your early childhood life, your family dynamics. It's when it comes to people, the old joke is, what's your sun sign? Really, in actuality, what people should have been asking is, what's your moon sign? Because that that is where you build the trust. That is where you build the comfort with other people. Okay, so it also tells us how we relate to other people. So if you have a moon that's hammered by Saturn and Mars, i.e., squares coming from either direction or from one direction, you could have somebody that doesn't trust very much and has a hothead. Somebody who might not even know what their emotions are. You know, um, coming from Saturn, and the hotheadedness would be coming from Mars. It's very important. If you have um, an aspect coming from Venus or Neptune, let's go Venus. With Venus, you're going to have somebody that's very sweet. If it touches the sun, again, somebody that's very sweet. Now, is that going to be constant? Depends. If it's an easy aspect, that flow is always going to be there. If it's hard, it depends on the situation and how the person is feeling. Um, yeah. It's very, it's very important. Um, Again, if you have, um, it shows, how open you are or how not so open you are, depending on the sign in the house. Um, it's it's talks about how protective we are. That could be from, um, this life and past lives, and more than likely it's bringing it's our karmic memory. So this is for somebody, they're for the people that, for some reason, have, irrational fear of water, or somebody who, that's never had an accident in the water before, somebody that has an irrational, fear of fire, even though they've never been burned, in this lifetime, for either scenario. But you do past life work, and, because you have so many phobias, and, here, you may have died in a flood, or you may have died, um, you know uh, in a fire, or know somebody that was burned, you know in a fire. You never know. We hold that stuff. We hold it, karmically speaking. um the moon will tell us that stuff, but the south node, the north and south node will tell us more, especially the south node, about, past um past lives. Um it's represents, our intuition, and our and later development of emotional, um intelligence. Okay, it allows, it allows how, we care for ourselves and other people. And if it also will serve as our attachment style. We know those people, today, that, you know are, very jealous, or always need to know, what their significant others doing, what their friends, constantly need to know what their friends are doing, constantly need to be there, with somebody. um, that's our attachment style, right? So if you had a person, that was very neglected as a child, and they fall in love, um, they're going to be very needy. They're going to be probably the person who's going to need to know where you are at all times. The ones who won't, have their own life, right? It talks about, it shows us where the extroverts and the introverts are, right? So, me, my moon is in the fourth house. Um, so, I'm very, happy being at home. Almost too much happy being at home, where I have to force myself, to leave sometimes when it doesn't have to do with work. um or, better yet, you could be one of those people, that had very nurturing parents, had very, um a very safe upbringing. You're going to be those people that aren't afraid to go do something. You're not going to be afraid, to take a risk, um because, the moon represents that. And it's like a paradox. It's what it also, because it also shows what, um we need to be happy down in our heart. Well, you know but we also have to be safe. So, it'll sometimes that's hard for people, you know that to follow, what keeps, keeps them happy, and what is safe. I mean, that's very hard for a lot of us to find. There are some people out there, um, you know, I found, um, studying these charts for the last couple of years, that I've noticed that most people that have harmonious aspects between their sun and their moon are usually some of the most successful people, because their ego and their happiness is in tune. It's going in the same direction, compared to other people. If they don't have the harmony, if they have a square or an opposition, they're always going to be be fluctuating between the two, between their ego and between their needs. And it's, causes, that person constant stress, a constant frustration. That's where meditation comes in for me. Anyway, because it always follow the moon, guys. Always follow the moon, because that's where your happiness is. Um, it also represents the cycles. Every planet has a cycle. Um, it's just some of them are more apparent than others. So the cycle of the moon, which we know about, is every 28 days. Going from new to the first quarter to crescent. um you know you know back to full, back to disseminating, or I guess we have the last quarter in between there, and then going back to the new moon. Our female, um menstruation goes in that cycle every 28 days. For the most part, it rules, the tides. I know, being a nurse, um, some of those full moons, and anybody that works with people who knows that it's a full moon, it does cause people to act a little um, out of character for them. Which I don't know if it's out of character, or it's just, you know, it's the energy no longer, the moon energy no longer allowing itself to be inhibited by the sun, or what society needs, or dictates to us. Um, it's so true. Believe, believe the rumors. The lunatics really do come out. Um, which is, which is another name for the moon, is Luna. Um, it's it's a state, lunatic, would be like um, the state of emotion. You know what I mean? That it's such a horrible word, because it can mean such beautiful stuff. So anyway, um, yeah. So, okay. So, like I said, it represents the cycle. It is one of the fastest moving points in the, if we're talking about luminaries, like actual physical bodies points in the chart, it is the fastest moving. It'll go through a sign every 2.5 days. Okay. So that another reason why your birth time is important, because you could be, you know, um, for example, like if I didn't know that the exact time I was born on a full moon. um, it could have my moon in Scorpio, right? Because the full moon was like 1:09 a.m. or something, in that morning. Here I was, born in the p.m., in the afternoon, so that puts me as Sagittarius. It could, it's very important. It's not even, almost 12 hours, and it went 8, 8 degrees or 6 degrees away. Okay, so it's another reason to get your chart rectified. It's it's what keeps you happy. Like I said, it allows you um to know when you're safe. So that's, in synastry, which is the study of two charts coming together, one on top of the other. How your sun may affect my moon, or how my moon may affect your Saturn. um moon connections are some of the best connections that you have, especially if you have some really good Mercury in there. But let's just go with the moon. Because you really let your inner child out. You really let those, you feel safe enough to let that child out. And if it's in good condition from your natal chart, because you always got to start with the individual natal chart um, in any kind of relationship, astrology, that moon will allow that inner child to come out from you, and which also makes it easy for your partner's inner moon to come out. So you have more harmony in the home. You have more trust in the home, within the relationship. Um, Not saying that that's a guarantee that it will last a lifetime, um, but definitely gives it better chances. Remember, because remember the chart impels, it does not compel. So you have to remember that with your own chart or with synastry. Um, the moon, is what you need for your happiness. I already said that, I know that, but I can't stress it enough. It is what will allow you to become better adjusted in life. Um, you guys know the old adage, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Well, if your moon ain't happy, you're not going to be happy. If you look at those people that are constantly unhappy, how are you not nourishing yourself? And that depends on the sign. So, like, if you're an Aries moon, you're gonna need movement. You're gonna need activity. You're gonna need stimulation like that. If you are a Taurus moon, you're gonna need a house that smells good, that looks good. Plenty of food, soft furniture, soft blankets. If you are a Gemini moon, you are going to be a person that needs to be mentally stimulated. You're going to like teasing. You're going to like walking around in your community. You're going to like people, you may like people coming into your home. Depending on where that Gemini moon is situated. If you are a Sagittarius moon, you're going to need to learn. Um, you're going to need some spiritual practice, some higher philosophical practice. If you are a Pisces moon, you're going to be a person that needs to, all water moons, probably you're going to need going to be a moon that needs to retreat a little bit, to fill back up, to, um, to feel, to fill up your tank so you can go and deal, because you're going to be an open book. That you know, the moon, is like a membrane, between you and the rest of the world, you know, with interacting with the rest of the world. You know, if you know, it's the moon is basically your feelings. So like if you are somebody that has a conjunction of Saturn with the moon, you might be a person that doesn't know what their emotions are or exactly what you're feeling because they're so deep down, or you were conditioned to keep, to keep them down. If you are now, if you are sextile your moon with Saturn, you're probably going to be, or trying, you're probably going to be somebody that, you know, isn't going to blink when, in a crisis. You are somebody that, might be, could be that person that walked in on your, freshly broken up partner and see them with a new partner, and you could sit there like it's not even going to matter, or you're not, the emotions aren't going to be shown, except probably to those that you trust very much. Now, if that moon is connected to Mars in a square, you're going to have somebody that's going to be a hothead, that's going to be constantly on the move. That's the only thing that keeps them moving. So same scenario, that squared, with the boyfriend, or girlfriend, whatever, walking in on your freshly ex, and you walk in on them, somebody with a, moon square Mars, especially depending on where they came from in their childhood, you just might have a flipped over table, or, somebody that walks outside and keys your car, that stuff's, that's all mood. That's all hurt feelings, that's, it's very important to you. Now, with that, it's like, with how we interact with reality, if you have somebody that has their sun or their moon, um, an aspect between Neptune or Venus, you're going to have somebody, that doesn't have any boundaries. You're going to have somebody that's a psychic sponge. You're going to have somebody that sees everybody and thinks that they're friends. You're going to have a real softy, a real sensitive person on your hands. Okay. That person with that earlier that I talked about, with the difference, that scenario with the ex partner, let's go back to that. The person, let's say with the Saturn and good, with the sextile or the trine, will know, especially when they're older, will know how to comfort themselves. They know somewhere in their heart that they need to take responsibility for their emotions and how to comfort themselves. Now the person, with the Mars square their moon, they might not know what comforts them as a child. That might be the child that just straight up breaks down in the middle of the supermarket. They might not know, especially if they're overtired or if they're hungry, or, if something really daunting happens, to them. Always ask, what do you need? Be patient with them. Don't yell, because they don't know. They don't know what they need. Don't minimize them, because especially if they're a sensitive person, hear them out. And even if they're adults, hear them out and just let them know, that they have to find something that makes them feel better. The that's the thing. It's like some of, you know, um, that's part, of some people's unhappiness, because they don't know what will make them happy, too, you know? Um, it, it just is. Um, so all in a nutshell, basically the moon, it's what you need, um, to feel safe, to make you happy. Um, Now, if you have any questions, I think that's about all I have to say. So, um, if you have any questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to ask down below. I write better than I speak, which is okay because that's why I'm doing this, to get better, better, better. And so I can help you out with that. If you're interested in, like I said earlier, if you're interested in an oracle reading or an astrology reading or to have a Reiki session, you can just get a hold of me at robinseclecticness@gmail.com. Um, I think that's all I really have for you right now. Uh, Please hit like and subscribe because I do need you, to make this happen. And okay, I guess that's all I have. Okay, peace and happiness and shalom.